Welcome to Live Your Purpose. You might recognize me from the Active Lifestyle Center. My name's Cheryl Sterling and I am the coordinator of recreation, and we did an active living moments on TV. So today I'm not exercising. We're actually I'm going to be interviewing Steve here, Steve Bottrill. He will be the host of Live Your Purpose, and we're going to find out a little bit more about Steve and what his story is all about. He will be the host of more of these segments, and I'm sure you're going to enjoy them.
Thanks,
Hi,
Cheryl.
Steve.
Hi. How are you?
I'm good. Just a quick question. I noticed that you have a hole in your throat and your eyes just a little crooked.
Yeah, it's pretty hard to miss.
Yeah.
Pretty hard to miss.
What happened there?
First of all, I was going to school up in Ottawa, going to University, Carleton University. I was engaged to a girl down here. Now, every so often I would make trips from Ottawa to Chatham to be with my fiance at the time. We were just planning our wedding. Now, there was also a girl up in Chatham who would give me rides home. She worked for the RCMP, so I thought I was in good hands with her. Mm-hmm. Now, we hadn't gone home. We hadn't traveled home for quite a while. It's been a couple months, and I needed to get home to help plan my wedding. It was the end of March, and the weather seemed to be clear. We never traveled on inclement weather, so we figured we'd be fine this time. Now, the plans were all set in place. In the morning, she would pick me up about 5 a.m. We would drive back home to Chatham, about an 8-hour drive on a clear day. Now, this time, something a little different happened. I woke up the morning of, and we had just been hit by a massive snowstorm. But it was 5 in the morning, and I figured, we'll take it easy, drive home nice and slow, mm-hmm. and we'll be there, no problem. It'll be all right. I usually just stayed awake for the last hour ride home, but at this particular time, I declined my seat. I couldn't go back too far because her dog was in the back seat, and oddly enough, this time I did fall back asleep. So we ended up getting back into Chatham. Usually when we came to the Chatham city limits, because of the slowing down of the car, I usually woke up anyway. Mm-hmm. But funny enough, for some reason I didn't wake up. Mm-hmm. We got back into Chatham, got into the city limits, and I don't know if I mentioned this, but there's a snowplow strike at the time. Oh. So none of the roads had been cleared, which was odd. Mm-hmm. We were coming in. We came over some tracks, I guess. I was asleep still on the passenger side. Our car hit some ice, spun out uncontrollably. There's a car coming the other way. It must have hit the same ice, just T-boned our car right where I was sitting. Oh my. Just crushed the car. So I only saw the picture once, but I didn't know what happened to me, where I went. But luckily enough, my seat was declined. I was still asleep. See, I was asleep for the entire event. But all these coincidences that happened just seemed to work with me here, saved my life. Oh my. I forget what time it was, but the ambulance was rushed to the scene. My father-in-law knew the paramedics, and he was talking to them afterwards. Yes. And they were saying, if there was anybody in that passenger side, they're dead. There's no way they survived. But funny enough, I was in the passenger side. Now remember, that car was crushed from this size to this size. Now, it turns out though, they had to give me the defibrillator twice just to jolt me back into life. I was rushed to the Chatham hospital. They couldn't really do much for me. They thought, well, I'm a goner. I'm done. I'm dead. But you know what we'll do? We'll call the London hospitals, find out if we can bring him to the London hospital. Maybe they can do a little bit more. What happened was they found a room, like a really small room at the end of one of the halls where everybody is going to die anyway. Oh dear. But so they said, well, he's going to die anyway. Just see what you can do. So my parents came down, my wife, my fiance came down. Everybody, they were expecting the worst, but I just kept surviving. And they don't know why. I just kept surviving. There's another purpose for me.
Absolutely.
another reason to live. About a week of surviving there, they said, okay, well, we got to ship him off to a rehab hospital. So they took me to another rehab hospital, Parkwood Hospital, which is amazing. So they took me there, and they said, well, he's never going to walk again or talk again or see again or do anything. Just kind of see what you can do. Let's just do your best. Now, funny enough, they had me in a room up on the 3rd floor, and all the rehab centers were on the lower levels. So that 5-minute wheelchair ride down was so much stimulation for my brain that I just fall asleep. As soon as I got to wherever I was going, I would just fall asleep. And now the therapists and others that were there were just kind of laughing and joking and saying, well, I can't believe this. They want us to try and fix this guy. He's asleep. He's never going to wake up. But, after doing this day after day after day, eventually my brain started to kick in and I started to rehab, get better and better.
Yes.
They said, well, he's never gonna walk again or talk again. But sure enough, I started to walk again. I started to talk again. You can notice my eye. I had double vision for the longest time. Before that, I was blind. I couldn't see a thing, which was horrible. So I got past the blind part, and then I started seeing 2 of everything. And that was really strange for me. But eventually, my brain started to heal itself, and then I was able to see 1 of everything. And then over the time period, I started to learn to walk again, talk again. And now every morning I would go by the nurse's station, right? On the way to the bathroom or wherever I would be going. And, my confidence level started to grow at this point. It started to get better and better. And the nurses, everyone could see it, and they would say, I don't know why they would say this to me. There's 2 reasons I suspect. They would say, Steve, don't worry if you don't get back to 100% because it was a horrific car accident you were in. Just be thankful you were alive.
Thankful.
And you know what I would say? I would get mad. I would point at them and I would say, you're right. I'm going to be better than 100%. This was every morning. Every morning they would say that. And then they'd also say, well, 1 in a million people make it back to being 100%. I said, well, I'm the one. I am the one that gets back to being 100%. Mm-hmm. So then, now the reason why I suspect they kept saying this to me every morning, was either to give me the internal motivation or to not let myself get too depressed if I didn't get back to 100%. Right. But I was so determined to get back to 100%. Mm-hmm. And for some reason, I knew I was going to get back to 100%. Now, when I was just coming out of my coma, or it's still in my coma, I could hear the doctors say to my parents, he'll never get to be 100%. They kept saying the same thing. They kept giving the worst case scenarios. He'll never play soccer again. He'll never walk again. And he'll never do this. He'll never be the same. But, for some reason, I heard that and I said, I'm going to be better than 100%. I'm going to be better than what you think I'm going to be. And I had this surge of energy just come over me. I don't know where it came from. And now I was supposed to be dead. I don't understand why I heard this and where this energy came from. It was like just uprising of some kind of power. I don't know how to explain it. It's hard to explain. But so then I knew at that point I was going to be better than 100% because something inside me or external, I don't know what it was, it's hard to explain, told me that I was going to be better than 100%. And I kept telling everyone, I'm going to be better than 100%. I'm going to be better than 100%. Because I knew I had this just knowledge.
And you remain
it's
happy and strong and persevere.
Yeah.
It's amazing. How do you live your purpose now? What do you think your purpose is?
Well, my purpose now, I feel that it's to inspire others to come and live their purpose, inspire others to talk to them and tell them what I've been through so that they can persevere through any challenge and any goal that they've set for themselves. Now, if I can come up here and tell about my story and tell everyone else about my story, I'm sure that you can go out there and take the first step forward toward reaching your goal. Now, in fact, I would like to hear from you if you have taken any steps toward reaching your goal, you can write to me here at this station and let me know how your pursuit or your goal setting and your purpose, striving toward your purpose, living your purpose. If you can let me know here, I would love to hear your story.
And that's Steve Bottrill. As you can see, he is living his purpose. So please contact Steve. Fascinating story. I'm sure there's more out there who have fascinating stories. Thank you for tuning in today.
Thank you.